The reason you're getting that online business sounds like Ponzi schemes are a couple reasons. The big one is everybody's working from the same playbook. I remember when we were first doing the Rule Zero thing, the boys started saying, hey, you got to get this book. Cernovich was talking about it in the online business thing, and I can't remember what it's called right now. I could pull it up on my Kindle. I just can't remember. Anyways, if you read it, it's exactly what you see on exactly what you see when people are selling things online. They're all running from the same playbook. There's kind of a business model around it that everybody adopts. And the reason you can see it is because a lot of guys don't adopt it well. I was talking with Paul too about this today. I'm like, how's your funnel? He's like, what's the funnel? And I'm like, he knows what a funnel is. He just didn't know the term. So this is why all online businesses sound like Ponzi schemes, because they do the same thing a Ponzi scheme does. It's called a funnel marketing. Now, funnel marketing is the idea that you funnel people from the attention grabbing initial part of it all the way down to the product selling part. But you specify but you filter for people who are warm buyers. So the idea is you have a top of the funnel, a middle of the funnel, and a bottom of the funnel. Tofu, mofu, bofu. Top of the funnel, just learn my name. That's the only goal of top of the funnel marketing, is you want people to know you exist and know you have a link to material. That's the middle of the funnel. So that's it. That's why you see me on Twitter and everybody's like, oh, you're such a nice guy when you're talking to people on podcasts. Why are you such like an adversarial, outrage brokering prick on Twitter? I'm like, that's why. It's the top of the funnel. You don't need to like me. You don't need to love me. You don't need to worship me. You don't need to buy my stuff. You just need to know who I am and where you can find me. And that's it. And that's why if I have an acrimonious tweet that takes off, my next thing underneath is join the newsletter, go to the YouTube channel. That's it. That's all I want from you. And it's great because now you're filtering. People get to engage with you at the level that they are comfortable with. And I'm explaining it in like a proper way, but I'll get to why the Ponzi scheme stuff you see after. So maybe you just like watching me take a giant dunk on e-girls or whatever the hell you see me shit posting, trads or whatever. And so that's good. You're like, that's what I want. I don't want game. I don't want red pill. I don't want YouTube. I just like seeing you tweet like an asshole every now and again. That's fine. But some people are like, oh, he's talking sexual dynamics. He's talking about relationships. Oh, red pill. Oh, he deals with like Rolo and this guy. And I'm a fan of Zertis. I want to see what his stuff is. They go to what's called the middle of the funnel. Now, the middle of the funnel is where you show people you know what you're talking about. There has to be some kind of expertise there, because otherwise you're just an idiot, right? So that's where you see like blogs. That's where you see my YouTube channel, all the long form content stuff there, which is weird because people are like, isn't all your content supposed to be behind a paywall? It's like, no, you'd be surprised. Put your most valuable stuff right up front. Everything. The best you got, middle of the funnel. Now, the purpose in the middle of the funnel is for guys who want like your expertise. They want to either assess or glean from it. And this is why you're going to see a bunch of guys. They'll have, podcasts or podcasts, blogs, Twitter spaces, depending on what they are, anything in the middle. So from the middle, then you have that fairly interested group that likes you for your expertise, not so much because you're shit, just because of the attention grabbing stuff. And then you put links to the bottom of the funnel stuff there. All right, just so you know, there is a Patreon, or there is a community of alpha males of distinguished excellence, or whatever the fuck. Here's the Amazon book. Everything goes at the bottom, right? So then at the bottom of the funnel, you got guys that loved your attention and then decided to go to the next step, and they wanted to see your expertise, and then to the next step where they become warm buyers. And this is the idea. So if I'm not going to buy a book, whatever. You're in the middle of the funnel. You're perfectly fine watching all the mids watch videos, but you don't want to buy a book. You just don't click on the bottom of the funnel, which is saying you're opting out of it, which is great because a lot of guys get annoyed when you're on Twitter, the top of the funnel activity, and all you're doing is pitching your stuff. They're like, oh, this guy's just a sleazy salesman. And this is why you notice so much online business Ponzi scheme stuff, because their funnels suck. And they always think a funnel is a way of like, yeah, this is how you manipulate your audience. It's like, no, excuse me. No, it's not. A funnel is the way for you to stop wasting your time selling to people who don't want to be sold to, and stop delivering attention-grabbing content to people who don't want it. You let people engage to the level they want to. Now, if you really suck at it, then yeah, it's going to look like a Ponzi scheme. And it's all that same thing. You know that giant list? Like, hey, do you feel this? Do you feel that? Where it reads like an infomercial and you got to scroll like forever down to the bottom where you find, okay, there it is, the Gumroad course on whatever. Those are kind of scammy because they're actually Selecting for suckers. Selecting for suckers, because anybody who's willing to read an entire ad copy list that's that long is more than likely going to buy some dumb shit. And so anybody who doesn't want it filters them out. I don't like it when people do it that way, because it's just, they're not showing off their expertise. They're showing off a system's expertise. It's like that bureaucrat that just knows how to read policy. Like, you're at the DMV, you just want a driver's license. And this guy's like, I'm reading the book here. Sorry, sir. It says here you need a driver's license. It is a driver's license. Well, it doesn't say driver's license. It's a license I give you when I drive, but it needs to say that specific word. And you're just like, I really hate this person. But you can't say nothing because they have the entire power of the state behind them. Like, they'll kill you if you wanted to strangle them behind the thing. But that's why it seems like a Ponzi scheme for you, right? So good ones, and everybody does it. It's just, that's just the way business is done. So everybody does it. And when it's done well, you don't notice it. When it's done poorly, you can't help but notice it. So by the fact that you see all these Ponzi schemes means what you're seeing in the, I think you specifically said at the Sphere, or just most online businesses, most online business people are absolute failures. They don't do well in the corporate land. They don't do well loading trucks. Or maybe they're loading trucks and they want to do something better with their life. They just don't have appreciable talents. And so it's reflected when they try to do their own thing and become an entrepreneur that they also don't have talent. Now, I'm not saying this from a position where I'm the greatest salesman ever. I am, the way I approach it is, I don't like demagoguery. I don't like online sycophants. I don't like that parasitic social thing where you have like people throwing tier 3 super chats at e-girls who are like, thanks, man, my boyfriend, like, none of that shit. I hate it, but it works. And so if you don't use it, you're essentially just yelling into the void. So I hold my nose and I do the exact same thing I'm shitting on here, because it's the only way for things to work. The only saving grace I have is that I'm self-aware enough to let you guys know I'm doing it. I do you the courtesy of not bullshitting you, right? Well, and scammers are, it's a weird term. Like, I use it myself. I get it. When people are throwing claims a scam or a grift, it's almost like not a useful term to use, because what is a scam? What is a grift, right? Well, a grift is when somebody does something to you and it doesn't work. I said, well, technically you could just say the whole vaccination program for the mRNA stuff was an absolute scam. You could argue it. I'm not arguing it because of Twitter's TOS, but you could argue it. But people don't think of that because it has like authority behind it, which means they have a good funnel. Like, you know who Pfizer is because they pay for ads on everything. You know who they are because they essentially had all governments mandate you know who they are. And the government bought everything they had because everybody was scared, right? So their funnel works great. But it is essentially just a scam. So what is a scam? I think a scam, the best way to describe scam, and this is totally subjective, is when somebody engages commercially with something that they consider a grift or a scam, they always walk away feeling like they put more in than they got out. You know? I see those super chats, by the way. I'll get to them. I'm not saying it actually does provide less value than what they paid for it, but they perceive it does. And I think that's the big thing. So, like, there's some people... Who's that one chick? That OnlyFans chick. Remember the one that was a while there? It was like barking like a dog, making $100,000 a month in OnlyFans? And you're like, why would somebody pay $10 a month to watch a girl acting like a dog? Well, it's like they got something. Like, they're happy. Their $10 a month is totally worth watching the girl degrade herself on TV. Even though arguably it's a complete waste of time and waste of money, they don't feel like it is. So they don't think of her as a grift or a scam. And she absolutely is. No talent. The funnel sucks. But hey, is what it is, right? So yeah, just when you walk away from it, it's one thing I've always tried to keep in mind. Like, I've probably been asked any of the guys from like Rule Zero, past or present, and they'll say the same thing. Is that when I do something, like we want to do a conference or whatever, I always want to say, if somebody has to give me $1, I want them to get $5 of value, which makes sense because scale, right? If there's 1,000 of you guys paying $1 for something, I'm one guy making $5 worth of value and giving it to everybody. So everybody wins in those scenarios. That's what you're trying to do. But a lot of people don't do that because they don't care. They don't care. They just want money. I want money, and I don't give a fuck about the long-term consequences. That's why you see so many brands nuke their stuff. It's just short-term thinking. Anthony Johnson had a wonderful convention, crushing it, because he got Rollo in there for free, brought a bunch of talent in there. He said he had all the talent he needed. All he had to do was just shut up and watch money roll in. But what does he do? I don't like that. I want to be the most important guy ever. Has his temper tantrum, loses out to the point that he was basically broke riding on 7-year-old YouTube content. Sucks, right? But that's what most entrepreneurs do, man. That's what most of them do.